Moving on to the next question, number 17. An under the radar team you will be watching this season. Could be another type of league pass team type question, low key team. I'll get started with this one. I have a couple different teams, a few that I have been talking about. I've talked a lot about the Charlotte Hornets, who I'm interested in watching. The Blazers, I sneakily like their roster. But my answer is going to be a team that we're probably going to talk about a lot this season because of one of our fellow co-hosts, and it is the Houston Rockets. I am excited for Houston Rockets basketball. I'm very excited for Houston Rockets basketball. Just a lot of all-around solid, talented players that can do a lot of different things. And in a tight Western Conference, there's definitely a world for them to fit in somewhere in the standings because it's so tight. I didn't have them making the playoffs or anything. I have them barely making the play-in, but I would not be surprised one bit if they made it higher because it's going to be fun to watch Rockets basketball this season.
Yeah. Let me jump in here because I also have the Rockets for my under the radar team. I am very interested in the Rockets season this year. I had them at 12 in the West. That was a tough one for me. They could be anywhere between 6 and 12 in reality in my mind. And that's one of the reasons I have them on here is because I do have a lot of faith that they could secure like a playoff spot. Like they could be a top 6 seed with the roster that they have. I really like Steven Adams coming off the bench. I think him and Cam Whitmore are going to be solid in that second unit, leading those younger guys like Reed Shepard and Amon Thompson. They just have a lot of depth in every position. And Steven Adams and Jeff Green are like, and Fred VanVleet for that matter, are legit vet guys who have done it before and who have been there. And along with Dylan Brooks, like they got a pretty complete roster from top to bottom of young guys, vets, second unit. So yeah, coaching. Yeah, Houston is my under the radar team.
Jackson, you want to say anything about your Houston Rockets?
Just like those answers, like everything you all said. They're obviously my team as well. Well, one of my teams. Miles knows I'm known for watching the under the radar teams. On League Pass specifically. Last year and this year, I'm gonna watch the Wizards a lot. I'm gonna watch the Hornets a lot because I like what they're doing over there. I like Brandon Miller and all them. Like Miles said, the Blazers and yeah, I mean obviously the Spurs too. Spurs. Everyone's gonna be watching the Spurs, but yeah, I mean I like. Obviously, Houston was my first pick, but I didn't want to say that because I didn't want to be biased. Obviously, I could be, but I've been excited since the end of the year last year to see what this team can do. I think, like Nick said, Cam Whitmore is going to be a huge part off the bench alongside Reed Shepard and Amon Thompson. They're all under, I believe, 23 years old, all three of those, and even Alp's only, I think, 20, right?
Yes, definitely still very young.
He's 22. I think Jalen Green's 22, 23. But we like Nick said, the veterans is what's gonna kind of hold this team together, kind of like Jeff Green did last year, except we got Steven Adams, who I think is a better piece to kind of help develop Alp because that's something Alp needed to work on was his toughness with screen setting, with defense, with everything. And I think Steven Adams is the perfect guy for that. And I think it's gonna help Jabari too, because Jabari is another big, strong big man that needed help with all that.
So who's your team, Jackson? I don't think you ever answered.
What? Oh, my team? Well, I mean, I said the Hornets just because I think they're as low key as it get. I think low key sneaky. I think it's them and the Rockets in each conference. So it's kind of like yeah, sneaky. But yeah. I mean, I'm gonna like watching. I'm gonna be watching a lot of the lower teams, like the Pistons, like the Raptors, like all those lower teams. Miles knows I love watching the mediocre games for some odd reason. I flock to it.
You watch mid teams because you're a mid player fan podcaster.
Indeed. Who's your favorite team? I've heard you talk more smack about the Cavs than anyone I've ever seen. So who is your team?
The Cavs.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I will say real fans are truthful about their team or hard on them in, well, certain moments.
Listen, Listen, I could be hard on my team, but they've suffered enough. So
Definitely fair enough. Rockets definitely on the come up. Pistons are a low key team for me. I'm actually excited to watch them play this upcoming season.
I am too. Now that I mentioned them, I'm excited to see Cade, Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, and this new coaching and everything. Because I think they were fine offensively last year. Because they got the bucket getters, they needed help on the defensive end.
Oh, for
You
sure.
got Asar Thompson. Asar Thompson's going to be low key defensive player of the year candidate under his new regime of defensive coach.
Wow. Interesting. Now talk about a hot take right there.
I said a low key candidate. Will you calm yourself?
A low key. That means if he gets a vote, for defensive player of the year, then that'll count as a win. That'll count as a win.
I agree.